Okay, so today is July 5th, 2022, and here is a garden tour and a little update of everything. So let me let Salem say hi. Hi, Salem. Hi, baby. Okay, so you can see all of these lovely tomato clusters on the bottom of all of these plants. We have the Black Beauty here. Last year, Black Beauties were a lot bigger than this, but some of them are still a decent size. And then we have the Black Krim, which, again, this year I'm having a hard time believing these are actually Black Krims. As you know, they're much larger than this. These clusters are very small. You can see that one. There's another one up here, and then more up here. But they are all this size, like saladette size. Starting to blush a little bit. I got these seeds from Baker Creek. Last year I tried to plant Black Krim seeds from Ferry-Morse. They didn't turn out to be Black Krims. This year I think I'm having the same problem for some reason. Something doesn't want me to enjoy a nice Black Krim. So maybe next year I'll have some luck. Then I always get these two mixed up. As you can see, I used a Sharpie to label these plant label tag things from Dollar Tree, and they all came off. So one of these is an Ananas Noir, or a black pineapple, and the other one is Paul Robeson. So don't know which one is which. If you look at my past videos, back when they were labeled, you can see. But yeah, this one has a big cluster right here, kind of small. All the tomatoes seem kind of small this year. And some up here. Oh no. And I have had quite a bit of blossom end rot. So if you research anything about blossom end rot, some people say that it's a calcium deficiency. Some people say that it's from inconsistent watering, which, I mean, if it was a calcium deficiency, wouldn't all the tomatoes be affected? I don't know, that just seems like that's what would happen if it was a calcium deficiency. But maybe it is. I'm no soil scientist. I have no clue. But inconsistent watering, these are all watered. I mean, we've had so much rain. We've had so much rain this year. Every other day we've had like a big, huge storm. In fact, right now it's supposed to start raining like any minute. So yeah, I've had tons and tons of plants with blossom end rot, unfortunately, this year. So that sucks. But hopefully we'll still get some nice tomatoes. Check this guy. There's been a lot of splitting already too from all the rain that we've had. And then we have some clusters here. Some decent sized ones. And we have the German pink. I think this is our largest tomato right here. The German pink. We did get this plant from the nursery. So let's hope this one doesn't have, okay, blossom end rot. I would be very upset if our biggest tomato had that. But yeah, there's a good few on this plant right up to the top. Then we have a poor little cayenne pepper back here, stuffed. Doesn't really get stuffed in between all these plants. Doesn't get very much sunlight. Has a couple cayenne peppers at the bottom. And then we have the huge spaghetti squash plant. I've been hand pollinating all of them myself. You can see a spaghetti squash right there. So when we got back from vacation, the 18th or 19th, the plant was up to there. Today's July 5th, and it has went all the way down, came back up, and there's the end. So plants, especially squash, grow so quick. It's amazing. And plus it has a huge vine down here. just wrapping around everything. Then we have the volunteer tomatoes, calendula, marigold. Here's another volunteer tomato, which I believe is a cherry tomato. All of my volunteers I've noticed this year have leaf spot, and because of all the rain that we've gotten, almost every tomato plant that I have, almost every single one has a leaf spot from all the moisture, and we didn't keep up with pruning as we should have, so there's not enough airflow through here, especially on the cherry tomatoes. We didn't prune those at all. And there's my little hummingbird. If you can see, oh, she's sitting on the trellis. I can tell that's a female because she doesn't have a red throat. Absolutely adorable. Love, love, love those little birds. She just sits there and enjoys the garden like I do. So cute. My goal is to eventually get my hummingbirds to eat out of my hand. I think that would be amazing. So yeah, here is a volunteer tomato. Oh, and you can see my little cup of soapy water for all of my Japanese beetles that I've been finding on my flowers. They don't really bother my tomatoes or my vegetables, but my flowers, I mean, it is game on for them. They just tear those flowers up. Especially my morning glories. They love those. So here are some radishes. A lot of them are ready. A lot of them I can't eat because they're way too spicy. As you know, if you plant radishes in the summertime, they tend to be much more spicy than if you were to plant them in the cooler weather, like in the fall or early spring. We have the zucchini here. It has a ton of zucchini on it, but it also has a vine borer. So you can see my knife back there. I cut open the stem, killed the vine borer, and then put diatomaceous earth on it, which is usually, it's a wasteful venture going around here putting DE on everything, because then we just get rain and it all gets washed off within a day. Same thing with the spaghetti squash. I did have DE at the base. I rooted another stem as a preventative measure from the vine borers, but the rain washes it off. So we have a ghost pepper here. This is a Tabasco pepper. Has a ton of little peppers on it. Can't wait until they start changing colors. This is going to be absolutely beautiful. I wanted to grow this just mainly for ornamental purposes. Like I said before, I don't eat hot stuff. My husband does. But these will be so gorgeous, like yellow peppers, red, orange, green. Such a beautiful plant. And then check out this peperoncini. So we got this plant from the nursery, local nursery, and I have never seen so many peppers on one plant. Check it out. This thing is just packed with peperoncinis. I've also heard people call them peppercinis. I know the heirloom review guy, he always calls them peppercinis. I like his videos, he's funny. And then we have the red hot cherry pepper. Ton of peppers on this too. They are so cool looking. So they'll stay this size and then they'll turn red, also known as cherry bombs. Then we have the beautiful little marigold peeking through there. And then this poor sunflower, it broke, as you can see, but it stood back up. So this little guy is determined to grow. So when it starts getting bigger, and if it survives, can't support itself, I'll get a little trellis going to help him out. Here's another zucchini. There's some female flowers on this. And then we have the gladiolus here, another marigold. Here's a sugar rush peach, has some peppers all through it. And then we have the poblano, as you can see, has some good bit of peppers on this. A bunch of blossoms at the top. And then we have another volunteer tomato right down here, covered by the zucchini, and then another sunflower, mammoth Russian sunflower. So here is another sunflower. Here's another volunteer tomato that I stuck over here. I've been letting the dill go to flower for all the pollinators. I've noticed they absolutely love my herby flowers. So yeah, I'm just keeping that there for the bees. Once your herbs go to flower, they send out a hormone which changes the taste of the herbs, and they no longer are good for eating. So we won't be eating this, but I'll just leave it there for the bees. There's another volunteer tomato, another sunflower, golden sage, plum petunias. The celotias are finally petering out. I think it's their time. This is the longest I've ever kept celotia alive, so I'm happy. They lasted about a month and a half. And then we have another volunteer sunflower. Here's the red Reuben basil, another gladiolus. So I had leftover bulbs last year from the Dollar Tree, and I just noticed them when I was planting some flower seeds this year, and I took them and just stuck them all through the garden. I didn't know if they would come up or not, but they did. So I'm excited to see those. And then we have the sugar baby watermelons, and I'm so excited to show everybody these. So this is my cow panel trellis, an arch trellis. It's 16 foot by 4 foot. So this is 4 foot right here. On this side, this 2 foot side, I have 2 sugar baby watermelon plants. And then on this side, I have 3 Kajari melon plants. So right here, this is just 2 plants. You can tell the difference of the sugar baby watermelon. And check these guys out. They are getting huge. You can see one down here. And this one has like little speckles on it. I'm not sure if it's like a disease or just part of the skin of the watermelon. And then there's another one around here somewhere. So there's one right there. Oh, right here. Another one right there. I mean, there's just a ton all over this plant. Little tiny baby one right there. And then on the other side, same thing. This side is sugar baby watermelons, 2 plants. Over here is 3 Kajari melons. Look at this little tiny little watermelon. So cute. And we have a big one right here. This is probably the biggest one out of them all. And then another big one here. And just a bunch of tiny ones. I've been hand pollinating these ones also, so I don't know if they all will take, but we'll see. But there is just a ton. And I have all together, so this is 4 plants. All together in my garden, I have 8 watermelon plants. So if these all fruit and make it to ripening, we are going to have a crap load of watermelon this year. So no female flowers on the Kajari melons yet that I've noticed. I forgot this tomato. So this is a brandywine. You can see the watermelon vine coming over here, grabbing onto everything. I'll have to train this one up the vine. But here is a brandywine. One of my favorite tomatoes. Has some pretty decent sized ones. And some up here. A lot of them haven't been pollinated. It looks like we've had some really hot days, so that's probably why. And then we have another Ananas Noir. See all the tomatoes on that. I've got a couple on this plant also that I've taken off that had blossom end rot. Another marigold, another black beauty. Check those guys out. And then you can see a sun gold in the back. These guys are just so small compared to the ones that I had last year. I don't know if it's because of how many that I had in the bed, but last year I packed these beds even more than they are this year. So I don't think that's the issue. But Oh, some years are different than others, I suppose. Check out this huge, I can never get over this when I'm out here. This huge amaranth plant. And it's got a red dread. I call them dreads. This is actually edible. It's like quinoa. It's a grain. But I just grow it because it's beautiful. And it's getting more little dreads coming out. And it's such a beautiful plant. Really beautiful. Bright green, red stems. And then we have the Berkeley tie-dye pink. All of these tomatoes have been tiny as well, and they're all really weird shaped. Like these 3 on the bottom here are the best shaped ones that we have so far, but the rest of them are like this. They just have like holes, like severe cat facing, like splits. Just really, I mean, like, check this out. Really odd cat facing on this. See, this guy's struggling. Yeah, they've all been really strangely shaped. You can see some more tomatoes back there. This is a mortgage lifter. I've had to prune this like crazy. I hope the plant survives. I had to prune it because it had terrible, terrible leaf spot on it. And then in the middle we have a striped German. I don't even know if there's any tomatoes on that yet. I've also had to prune that a lot. Since they're in the middle, they do get, they don't get very much air because they're in between all of these tomato plants. And then these ones you see right here are Cherokee purples. So they're doing good. And then we have my bell peppers. I've already harvested one off of this. And we have a ton more. So you can see all of these little guys. There's one right here. There's another little one right there. Pretty big one. I'm so excited. This is the first year that I've ever been able to grow a bell pepper. You can see some more sun gold sneaking over here. This plant is just peppered with tomatoes. Tons of tomatoes on the sun gold, and we've gotten a couple ripe ones. Everybody says these are the sweetest, best cherry tomato ever. Me and my husband have tasted a couple, and maybe it's because they weren't very ripe, but this is how we've picked them. So you can see it's like bright orange. Let me see, I'm gonna try one. So you can hear thunder, I'm gonna have to hurry up. So this is, if I can get the camera to focus, oops. This is how we've picked them. Looks nice and orange. So let me try it. Not sweet at all. It's actually very tart. I think it's still delicious. It tastes just like a chocolate cherry. If you've ever grown a chocolate cherry, like those dark brown tomatoes, that's exactly what it tastes like to me. It doesn't taste like really sweet. My husband doesn't care for them. I love them. But definitely not sweet, like candy sweet like everybody says. And maybe it's just, you know, my environment. In somebody else's garden, they might be really sweet. So always take that into consideration. Other people might love something, you might hate something, or you might hate something and somebody else might love it. So you never know. But here are the sugar snap peas. You can see my beautiful moonflower, and I train it on this outer stem right here so it doesn't bother any of my other plants. And then we have a blue cream berry. Let's check out these guys. Beautiful little tomato. Grew these for my husband. These are his favorite because they are filled with juice and they just explode with juice in your mouth when you take a bite. They have a bunch of tomatoes. Last year the trusses of tomatoes were much bigger than they are this year. And we have the spoon tomato. Another sugar snap pea vine under here. Check out all of these. Put my hand back here so you can see all of these spoon tomatoes. How tiny they are. Adorable. I thought these would be the first ones to ripen because they're so small, but none of them have ripened yet. The sun gold plant that I just showed you was actually, we got that from a nursery, but I started these guys from seed, so maybe they're a little bit behind. You can see more through there. Look at these little petite, little tiny stems. They're so tiny. Then we have a black cherry tomato. You can see all of those cherry tomatoes on that. Beautiful plant. And then we have another poblano. We have this volunteer sunflower, another volunteer from the bird feeder up there that dropped seeds. Another gladiolus right here. We have some sweet basil that I haven't been pruning like I should have. That plant's doing pretty good. We have another red Reuben basil over there. Gorgeous little plants. And then, yeah, more poblanos. Check out this big mammoth Russian sunflower. Another volunteer tomato. Another volunteer tomato. They've been heavily pruned because of leaf spot, but you can see this one popped out 3 little tomatoes. It might be, I don't know, because I pruned it so heavily because of the leaf spot. And this one has 1 little tomato. Check it out. Wow. And then my beautiful calendula. I have harvested probably like 100 flowers off of this, and they still just keep pumping out flowers. I can't wait to make some skincare with this. Then we have the rosemary, a zinnia that I transplanted. This is the sweet banana pepper. We have a sunflower. We have some lima beans here, and they are trailing up the sunflower. So that's a lima bean vine. I thought these were a bush variety, but I guess not. Celosia, this one's still going pretty good. And then this is a Cajun bell pepper. Finally has some flowers on it. It does have some leaf spot and stuff on it, so I don't know what that's about. Maybe the same thing the tomatoes have. Then we have another blue cream berry. These ones get a lot more sun, so it has activated the anthocyanin in it. Beautiful little cherry tomato. I wish I liked them. Another spoon tomato. Then we have the black strawberry, the new one from Baker Creek. See these guys. Gorgeous tomato, and it does have leaf spot also. You see this weird one with the 3 cherry tomatoes on the fused blossom. Check these out. Such a beautiful, beautiful tomato. I can't wait to try these. And these are a pretty big cherry. You can see my hand compared. They're pretty big size. Absolutely gorgeous. And one thing that I've noticed in my couple years of gardening is every time I have a beautiful tomato, like gorgeous, beautiful tomato, love the colors, I usually don't like it. I usually still go for like the plain old red or dark brown or ugly tomatoes. So I wish I liked all the pretty ones. My husband likes the pretty ones, but... And then we have some more sugar snap peas. Love, love, love these things. My daughter loves them too, and it's very hard to get her to eat healthy and eat anything out of the garden. So crunchy and sweet. Definitely be planting more of those next year. So I forgot to show the Indigo Sun tomatoes. Really beautiful. And oh, the Braveheart. I always forget about this one. So if you can see through there, These guys are Braveheart tomatoes. You can see another little truss of tomatoes. They're really light green. And there's a bunch more at the top. And we have another moonflower plant. This is the only volunteer tomato that I have that doesn't have like crazy leaf spot on it. Don't know what it is. It's a mystery. And then we have the jalapeno pepper. Has a good bit of jalapenos on it. Started this from seed. Marigold, skunk repellent. Another Brandywine. Yeah, look at the leaf spot on this. Really bad this year. So we have 2 big ones down there, a couple right here. More Kajari melons. You can see the Braveheart cherry tomatoes on this side a lot better. Really bright, like pretty green. And then the Indigo Sun. See that beautiful cherry tomato. Also from the nursery, if I didn't say that. Here's some more sugar baby watermelons, Kajari melons. Here's a big one. There's a little scratch right there. Tons of little baby watermelons. So there's 2 plants right there. And then this is the Cherokee Purple that I thought got broke in the storm. But it didn't. It survived, which I'm so glad because it has the biggest uniform, best looking tomatoes I think that we have in the garden. And it's a Cherokee Purple, one of my absolute favorites. I don't know if this is my favorite or the Brandywine, but they are right up there together, like neck and neck. It does have one over here that's pretty cat-faced. You can still eat those tomatoes, just cut around the little weird areas. There's some weird ones here. 2 little weird ones. But these guys, I mean, these look great. And then we have another poblano plant. Chamomile. I've been harvesting tons and tons of chamomile. Another mammoth Russian sunflower. Some lavender here. Can't get over these. So gorgeous. And we have the yarrow, star sister dahlias, apricot vincas, another plum petunia. Look how bright pink these vincas are. And then we have the echinacea back there. I'm hoping that I get to see one. My little bee house. My autumn beauty sunflower. Looking good. You can see my zinnias over here from the baking tray. Doing really, really good. No like pest issues, or very little. There are some Japanese beetles tearing them up a little bit, but not like the problem that I was having when I first put all my zinnias out. They're doing really good. As you can see, all of these bright green little tree of hell popping up. And so I was just looking because in my tree of hell video I showed you this tree right here, which I think is the parent tree of these guys, and it looks like it has deer that have been eating it. And the deer around here love this tree of heaven that I call tree of hell. They love to eat it, but I don't even know how they would have gotten over there to eat it because there's fencing all along everywhere. I don't know how that would have happened. Huh. Well, I hope they don't get in my garden. That's a little worrisome. And then we have the mint over here just going crazy. My sunflower there. Another sunflower back there. Everything's doing good in my little pollinator garden. So happy about that. And then check out the milkweed. Can't get over this plant. So gorgeous. So I was watching something the other day. There's a channel called Crime Pays But Botany Doesn't, and he is hilarious. I think his name is like Tony Santorium or Santorini or something like that, Italian. He is so hilarious, and he's like a botanist, and he goes around and just like studies plants. Like he knows about all kinds of plants, and he's the reason that I learned to plant milkweed for the butterflies. But he went to a butterfly conservatory and sanctuary where they sell native plants and they keep butterflies in Texas. And the lady there said that first the milkweed plant or the butterfly plants will be covered in these little flies, and then the bees will come in, and then after the bees, then the butterflies will come in. So we'll see if that happens. It's still been covered with flies, so hopefully the bees will get a chance. Then we have another Paul Robeson here, which has the same disease that, see, this is the whole plant, like this tiny little thing here, very stunted, definitely has some sort of disease or soil. I believe I have some soil contamination in this bed, which sucks because it has really nice tomatoes on it. I'm still gonna let these ripen, see if they'll get fully ripened. But then we have some more watermelon. So you can see this guy here, another sugar baby watermelon, some more down here, and then just a ton of little tiny ones all through the plant as well. Kajari melon, and then another sugar rush peach. So if you notice this little empty area here, I had to pull out the black creme that was right here. So when I planted everything in May, I brought out all my tomatoes that I started from seed, put them in the garden in May. I think it was like May 15th. The black creme got curly top. I had to pull it out. I replaced it with another black creme that I had started from seed, and then that one was stunted. It got curly top, and it eventually just died off. It just petered out. The leaves started dying, started turning brown, and it died. So there's something in the soil right here and on that side, and maybe all throughout. Maybe that's why these plants aren't as big, as you can see, as all of these plants. Maybe the soil that I used to plant the seeds in, or maybe something that I put in this bed, because I do take like old potting soil or leftover potting soil and just sprinkle it in my beds. Maybe I put something that was contaminated in this bed, but I had to pull that out twice, which is really upsetting, because you know, it takes a long time to grow things, especially from seed. And if you have to spend all this time growing stuff, taking care of something, only for it to die and have to be pulled out, it's really, really upsetting. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant some sunflowers here and then let the sunflowers leach out, hopefully, whatever contamination is in this soil. But the Kajari watermelon doesn't seem effective by it. There is a volunteer sunflower that's doing fine. I have a pepper right next to it, so don't mind the bird crap on all of the plants. They like to sit right here on this end trellis down here and watch for worms. All of the robins do. But there is a ton of peppers down here. See, the peppers are in a nightshade family. So I would have thought that since this clearly affected a nightshade plant, a tomato, that it would have affected my pepper plant, but it didn't. And then we have another marigold. You can see more peppers, more sugar rush peach peppers. And then the 4th of July tomatoes. So today is July 5th, like I said, and we still don't have a ripe tomato. These were supposed to be ripe by the 4th of July, but you know, I know that's just probably just like around the 4th of July, they mean. But they are starting to blush. You can see the top 2 right there. Can't wait. So, kind of around the 4th of July. So maybe a couple more days. Maybe like 3 or 4 days. Hopefully we'll get a ripe 4th of July tomato. Here's the empty spot that I'm going to put the ground cherry in, which is also in the nightshade family. The Solanaceae family. Hopefully whatever's in the soil doesn't affect my ground cherry. Then we have a Paul Robeson. See, some of these tomatoes look really good. It does have some cat facing, but really big tomatoes. But it looks like they put off a good bunch down at the bottom, and then they just like don't really grow very good after that. So yeah, something definitely going on in this soil. Check out these gorgeous Brandywines though. How big these guys are. Really big. 4 of them there. We have another one here. This plant looks to be doing fine. And then we have another 4th of July. You can see all these tomatoes. This plant does have leaf spot also. And then in the middle here is where I stuck that Ananas Noyer. You can see a couple tomatoes on that. So that is the garden tour for July 5th. And when these guys ripen up, the 4th of July tomatoes, I'll come out and get a video of me harvesting everything. And hopefully we'll have a couple more ripe tomatoes by then.